From one of the races on the easternmost parts of the United States, we head all the way to the West Coast in wine country near Sonoma, California. Welcome to the beautiful Napa Valley region of California. And though it's a little dry here in the middle of August, it's about time to go road racing for the first time for the Area Cup Series in season number 6. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined by Hunter Sleppy and Finian DeCuna for the Area Cup Series, the first of 2 road races this season. The next one will be up at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve at round number 9, but Finian, tonight we go left and right tonight on this 2-mile tricky course in Sonoma, California.
Yeah, over the next month, we got 2 road courses coming up, so drivers better get practicing when it comes to making not only just the left-hand turns, but the right-hand turns as well. We always joke about it, but we have a really talented group of drivers, and a huge amount of them. I know we've been talking about the field sizes this year have been phenomenal, but we got 43 cars lined up here at our road course, where I don't think we've ever seen so many stock cars in one place, so there is going to be a big field coming to Sonoma here, and I think we're going to see some fantastic action across the entire field.
We got a field big enough for one guy to go home from what I'm seeing, Finian. We have 44 in the lobby right now with about 3 minutes left, so in case there's any late stragglers to come on through. But I think all of the drivers tonight, Kyle, are going to be marked safe from getting bumped out of the way by Austin Dillon. But we don't have any yellows, Kyle, so these guys have nothing to rely on to get back in the race. You have to go all out from the beginning.
No, this requires a really unique skill set. I think we're going to see a different cream rise to the top here tonight. Let's have a look at our 11-turn road course, 12 turns actually. It all begins with a run down towards turn 1, which is actually the lower corner there. The first turn that you would normally think of as turn 2 at the top of the hill. Then it's a sweep downhill towards turn 3, up over a big crest at 3A, and then down to turn 4. One of my favorite turns in all of North American road racing. Hop the curb, slide out to the wall, Finian, and head to turn 7, the hairpin at the top.
Yeah, turn 7, also another big action corner. You're going to see a lot of passing heading down there, a lot of dive bombs heading down there, then heading into the rest of track 8 and 9 and 10 as well. A whole bunch of S's stripped together. Guys, a whole rhythm section can make or break your lap. Into the final hairpin, another corner. We're going to see a lot of action heading down there.
A lot of action, a lot of contact, and then you're on through the last turn. Was that turn 12? That little left-hander before you get up to the straightaway, and should be an interesting one. We have never been to Sonoma before, but one driver who knows a thing or two about winning is James Scioli, especially in the Cup Series. He's got the most road course wins out of everyone with 4, but Jake Nichols has the most top 5s and top 10s at 7 apiece. Also has the best average finish, and Scioli probably going to be one to watch for the pole. Kyle, he has the most on road courses with 4.
Absolutely, Scioli is a favorite coming into the night, but having a look at practice, I think there's some other drivers to take note of. Peyton Howell is right up there in the mix in that number 52. And there's a couple other familiar names that we can expect near the top. Ricky Springer in the 51 has showed some prowess on the road courses in the past. And then looking down the rest of the order, looking for Bailey Turner in the 25. He's P18, but Finney, we've seen him be pretty solid as well as we take a look at the tail end of practice results.
Yeah, we have seen Bailey Turner perform pretty well at the road courses in the past, so I expect to see his name closer to the top, especially once we get in through the rest of the sessions, through qualifying, through the race. Looking down here, more or less the same drivers we would kind of expect to see near the top. Greg Mitchell in the number 2 we see there was in the just inside the top 10. Drujua in 11th, plays McKinney in 12th. Ryan Hart's back in 14th. A whole bunch of drivers. Weishart up there in 17th. I kind of expect him to see a little bit higher in the number 33, but we'll see as we go through. He's look at the rest of the practice drivers in practice.
Yeah, it should be interesting seeing how some of these guys navigate their way through qualifying, because practice times could mean a whole lot of nothing, because we've seen, and this is with go or go homers, we've seen them be at the top of the leaderboard in practice, but they just don't have it in qualifying and they go home. Speaking of which, Jacob Bell said he's going to opt out, so 43 cars will be racing tonight. Jacob Bell probably going to go in the admin hauler and just watch from above.
This will be a fun one to watch too. We don't get to road race a whole lot here in the Area iRacing series, and it just brings a unique skill set. The lack of cautions also means that strategy is paramount here, and taking care of your tires. I did a couple laps here just to get the thumbnail image, and Finian, this has always been like this in iRacing, but this track is so low grip. The course has been repaved in real life. It was actually laser scanned a couple days before I was there in the spring with SRO, but this is the track as it was back in 2008 or 2009, and it just does not have any grip, lateral or longitudinal, so you have to take care of those rear tires.
Yeah, Sonoma's always been a handful, especially in a stock car. It's a handful in a GTE car and a prototype as well, but especially in a stock car because you're relying so much on that mechanical grip. Well, there isn't a whole lot of it, and you don't really have a lot of aero to rely on as well. So it's going to really come out of just the steering inputs and especially how you control your foot to the floor.
There's a good look at the three of Ryan Hartson, just how the camera follows the three, just the different types of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but you could just see the increase and the decrease in the banking throughout the parts of the racetrack, going uphill, downhill. This part right here, Kyle, through the S's, you're going downhill fast.
Yeah, speaking of cameras, I don't know what's going on there. If I had something mischecked, I don't know what's going on with my, I'll have to check in on that here in a little while, but it seems like everything's backwards.
Yes. Make sure enable automatic shot selection.
Yeah, I'll have to double check that because we're seeing cars from a long ways away. So before we get into the qualifying times, I will check in on that. But fitting, we mentioned the tires and the situation here tonight with the rear tires. Look at the 118-degree track temp as well. That's going to be something to really make sure that you've got your rubber underneath you.
Yeah, that's just going to make everything worse. I'm sure the drivers would really prefer it if it was cool, get that much more grip out of the surface. But now they have even less grip considering how warm it's going to be, and I imagine the race session is going to be pretty much as warm, if not hotter, as we're just before 1 p.m. in the afternoon in sim. So it could get a lot worse for these drivers if it hasn't been already.
Yeah. Also, you're asking for a lot if you want a cool racetrack in California. That's like trying to get rain in the desert. Very rare that it happens, although it did happen when I went to Vegas one time. But yeah, the track temp's going to be interesting. Guys are already going to be slipping and sliding through the lefts and rights, let alone the high track temp. It's going to make tire wear that much more of a challenge for these guys to manage, as I think we have everything fixed now.
Yeah, someone's up with that camera set, strangely enough, but we're good now. So we're going to head down towards the S's here. Ryan Hart's working his way around, and one thing to note, all the practice laps that drivers did, many drivers, Finian, did over 20 laps, which is effectively half the race. You have to do that here to set yourself up for success. This is not a track that you can just load in and get 5 or 6 laps and feel good to go.
No, it really isn't. And this is one of those things where you really got to plan out your entire race more or less, kind of feel how things are going to go. Let's take a look at Ryan Hart's running up the hill, and actually one of the first drivers to come rocking across the start-finish line.
Cameron Hearn as well, going to put up a time, 10th quickest, as Matthew Bell currently the quickest. Peyton Howell almost there, but there's the king of road courses, James Skyerly. Going to see what lap he puts as he heads into turn 11.
Yeah, on the brakes here, I'm using that engine braking on the downshifting. One of the things that this car does a lot better than the trucks and the Xfinity cars that we'll see later in the week, it just stops a lot better. Big brake package, a lot more mechanical grip. It's got a little aero as well. But the independent rear suspension in particular is going to pay dividends here tonight. You're not necessarily going to lock up the rears as much as you would in the trucks or the Xfinity cars. But James Scioli goes right to the top by a 10th and a half of a second.
Yeah, not surprised to see that number 7 up there. You've seen him perform very well on the road courses in the past, and Greg Mitchell in the number 2 up there in second place. And that number 2, Greg Mitchell, he can definitely use some luck this season. He's not had the best of runs, and actually, no, let's say that he's pretty okay. I think the rest of his teammates have struggled a lot. We were talking about Cameron Hearn, one of those drivers that struggled, especially there at Physicus. So Greg Mitchell up to 2nd, Matthew Bell up to 3rd, Jake Nichols 4th, Peyton Howell in 5th. And there is Matthew Bell, actually usurps Scioli for now, goes up to P1, completing his 2-lap run.
Yeah, that's different about this. You get 2 laps for the road courses, and Peyton Howell makes the most of his. Going to jump up to 2nd. Seth Knoll jumps up to the top of the board, 1:15.52 with 5:30 remaining.
That's a really solid lap. I imagine that the second lap is going to be quicker. I've found that even these next-gen cars, even though they're running the Goodyear tire, they tend to kind of perform like a standard road racing tire in iRacing, where the first lap isn't necessarily the quickest. They need some temperature to do well. Scioli a 1:15.48. That'll be top of the board in the number 7. No surprise there.
And up he will go. Does anyone else replace him? Seth Knoll, he's finished his lap. Let's see, waiting for other drivers to finish. Ricky Springer in the number 51, one of those drivers coming across the line. Has he got a time out there? He is not. Now he will as he gets across the line.
6th. Or not.
Whoa. Yeah, you don't want to do that during the race.
I think he felt that was good enough, so he's going to retire the car in dramatic fashion.
Landon Cardolo in the 19.
Yeah, this is, well, that's going to invalidate his second lap. He had just started it. I think that will be the end of it. Trey Eitzen is working his way through the hairpin at the top of turn 7. I really prefer this shorter layout of this racetrack. I know others that come from a road racing background like the downhill. I've never found that corner to have all that great flow, and I really prefer the short chute over there from 4 to 7. And I love this racetrack. It looks like garbage in iRacing, but man, is it fun to drive. I can't wait for the rescan in particular. I think the only thing that's a bummer is they took out the big berm at the exit of turn 4 here, that big exit rumble strip. It's now just flattened out, and that makes it makes me real sad. I don't know why they took it out. They painted it, but
I think it's to help with the underbodies of the next gen.
Of course, another road course ruined by NASCAR. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Ruining Daytona, ruining Watkins Glen, now Sonoma.
They just can't leave it alone.
No, they can't.
All we want is for them to just return to Sonoma Day to the spring where there's actually grass. They're doing everything but that.
I saw green Sonoma with my own eyes this year. I was up there in April, the tail end of the green, and I learned about the sheep. Do you guys know about the sheep over there?
Oh, yeah. No.
So they keep sheep on the hillsides nearby, and instead of mowing the grass, they just turn the sheep loose. They put down a bunch of chicken wire on the next to the asphalt. They just let the sheep mow the grass for them, and then they put them back up in the hills for the weekend.
Honestly?
Yeah.
It's a pretty good use. Pretty efficient.
Pretty efficient.
We'll say one thing that we really need, Sonoma green grass.
Well, they scanned it in April, so in theory, we should get that.
Fingers crossed.
It looks like a completely different racetrack when the grass is green.
Oh, 100%.
Actually, they scanned it when it was still green, but it was like just starting to turn, which I think is probably the best time to scan it. Because if it's too lush and green, it won't look like Sonoma, but if it's too dirty, it'll look like this trash. The funny thing is it's right next to a big body of water, too. So you wouldn't think it would get this dry, but
that is ironic.
The brake rotor is glowing on Greg Mitchell. I mentioned the big brake packages, Hunter, but that doesn't mean that you can just smash that pedal to the floor for 45 straight laps. You need to still take care of those front brakes.
Yeah, especially going through these tight turns. You don't want to add too much throttle to it because then you might go off course and then you have to apply brakes even more just to keep your car on the racetrack. And then it just becomes worse and worse on the longer run. So you don't want to use them up too much, especially on these tight turns like turn 11. This is going to be a real tight one where guys need to get on the brakes. Well, he's going down the pit road. But that's another thing you have to worry about because we are going to have pit stops at some point. It's a large swiping right-hand turn through that part. So you're going to want to use the brakes well for that as well.
And Cardolo attacks turn 2 again. Easy on the power, and I love this section down through turn 3. Big compression here. You can eat that curb on the left if you choose, but this one you absolutely want to nail up over the crest. The track bottoms away from you. Full throttle down the hill, on the brakes again for turn 4. Flip this curb just a little bit, not too much though in the next gen car, then slide out towards that wall. And then up to turn 7, which is a great overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, you do like we saw Cardillo do. You don't want to take that much curve. You want to just take enough to get the car to rotate, and then through the S as you go left, right, left. And it's just a matter of just making sure you nail your exits and entries. And don't power, especially right there at the exit. I think that's turn 9 or 10.
Yeah, it's all just the S's.
But that corner in particular is so tempting to just jump on the gas. Got to let up just a little bit to make sure you don't go off, and then into turn 11. Into the hairpin. This is just a matter of just making your entry and trying to also block. And we've seen quite a few drivers go defensive, for better or for worse, into that corner and with mixed results.
I'm looking here. I don't think Tyler Gary's. He's definitely not getting a time in.
Nope.
Him, Garrett Grant, the only ones that haven't put a time down. And Jacob Bell already said he's not going to be racing tonight. So we are going to have one car going home. I'm not sure who that. It might be Tyler Gary, but.
Yeah,
we'll know at the end of this session in about 15 seconds.
The 62, Gary would be the driver to go home. Getting confirmation there. Didn't even attempt to qualify. And neither did Garrett Grant, and obviously Jacob Bell, who's deciding to sit out. See, that was a good amount of curbing clip, just enough to rotate the car, but it's so easy in this next gen to get that wrong. But we're going to see a whole bunch of racing here in just a moment's time. 45 laps, 90 miles worth of racing in Sonoma, California. This one is a very technical racetrack. So is Montreal, where we're heading. This is not like Watkins Glen, Finian, that you typically get where you're really leaning on the power, you're really leaning on the brakes. This place, you have to have finesse, and that's something that you're not going to see again until Montreal, I think, in round number 9.
Yeah, Montreal, you can get a little bit more away with it. A lot of stop and start corners, a lot of chicanes in Montreal. I feel like it does require a little bit of rhythm, but not nearly, I think, as much as Sonoma. I think Sonoma is significantly more of a technical track. Meaning, again, like you said, you need to have that finesse, moving the car around here, setting, because almost every time you exit a corner, you're setting up for the next corner. So it's all about a rhythm, about flow, getting on the throttle in the right points, making the right turn at the right points, and then not only that, also fighting with the 42 other cars out there on the track. And especially with it going green, and as many cars as we have, I think for one of the first times you've seen for stock cars around here, traffic is probably going to be an issue, I'd imagine.
It's a full field, which I don't, as I said in the pre-show to Finian, I don't know that we've ever seen a full 43-car field in a road course on SimTV in 6 years. So just to get everyone to show up, especially at Sonoma, which isn't beloved by any stretch to drive, that's an impressive feat. But race fans, make sure you subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. And as a subscriber, you've got those Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat and earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today, twitch.tv/Area iRacing. And our starting grid sponsor is Central Mobile Homes. And when we run through our starting grid, we'll remind you again that if you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to CentralMobileHomesInc.com to get started today. Well, I think they might let him have the warm-up here just to get those last practice laps in, but it's going to require drivers to really have had practice laps beforehand as well. All 3 series going here this week, and very different handling characteristics amongst these 3 cars this week. I think tonight might actually be more challenging. I think of the 3, I think the Xfinity car, Finian, is the most compliant around here.
Oh, it definitely is. There's something about that car. I don't know what it is. It just works really well at the road courses. I love that's one of my favorite stock cars to throw around a road course when I'm kind of feeling bored. More so than the next gen, which I've tried to like on the road course. It just doesn't have that same feel. The Xfinity car just feels right to me.
Yeah, looking here, we have quite a bit of guys that are going to have EOLs, so this qualifying order might get a little bit reshuffled, and one of the reasons why we didn't see Garrett Grant put a lap time down, he has a drive-through to start this race, so he's already going to be in a tough pickle, Kyle, but got car number 07, 11, 13, 14, 18, 26, 29, 30, 32, 51, and 52, all with EOLs for this race. And as mentioned before, Garrett Grant drive-through to start the race, so no yellows. That's going to be tough for him to try and make up ground.
Was Dover really that bad? I can't even remember.
Yes, it was pretty bad.
Also, how does remind me, it's been a while, Hunter, as far as spinning people out on road courses, do you get EOLs for next week? Because you can't get one in the moment, clearly.
I believe that would transition into next week as well. Just the same as any other race.
Yeah, so you got to keep your nose clean. Nice livery on Connor Horn's car. He did not really impress in practice or qualifying. I think he's struggling a little this week. We'll see if he can find some pace in the race. But I think your point about traffic is important to note, because I don't think we've ever really had significant lap traffic in a road race with stock cars on SimTV. So that'll be kind of a new experience that will give guys like James Scioli a different challenge towards the end.
Yeah, they definitely will. So it's just a matter of trying to see who's going to be up near the top. And I think also just a big thing too, just consistency. We talked about managing your strategy, managing the car over a stint. I think that's going to be a big factor for tonight.
We got some cameras, Kyle. I think that's Ricky Springer with a good look at his triple monitor setup.
Yeah, Ricky Springer's giving us an onboard. Bryce Senesac is as well. Connor Horn giving us his show from his perspective. Brett Puncari has changed the camera setup. You can see he's got, I think, is that the Thrustmaster DD that he's got on his desk. Travis Beckner is studying his notes before we go green. And Michael Curhan giving us a note. It makes more sense when you realize it was actually Garrett breakdancing while dressed as Rachel Gunn. I don't know if I have the context behind this.
Did you not see the Australian breakdancer at the Olympics?
No. Sorry, I don't. I live under a rock.
You should look it up after this race. It is very entertaining.
Well, I think if you went to do breakdancing, you'd give her a run for your money.
You would do better.
Oh.
She scored a big fat 0 in the competition.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
It's coming from Finian, too.
She said, "Arr."
Oh, boy. All right. Well, let's head down to the racetrack, and we have a full pace lap. We sure do, so we got plenty of time for our Central Mobile Homes starting lineup. So let's get that out of the way. Kicking things off on the front row. We'll try to bring you EOLs when we have them. James Scioli, no surprise, kicks off the front row with Seth Knoll right alongside him. He is on top of it lately. We'll see if he can manage Finian starting from second.
Yeah, moving on back to row number 2. It's going to be Peyton Howell in the number 52. Solid qualifying effort for him. Didn't really expect to see him as a road course ringer, potentially, but we'll see how he performs. Moving on back next to him, number 8, Matthew Bell, lined up in 4th.
And in 5th place, it's Jake Nichols in the 73. Ricky Springer rolls off 6th to the number 51.
Moving on back in behind him, Greg Mitchell lined up in the number 2 in 7th place. Next to him, Connor Krzik in the 14, lined up in 8th.
And in 9th place, it's Matthew Morton in the number 18. To roll off on the inside of row 5, Philip Groner starts 10th in the number 11.
Moving on back to 11 is going to be Adam Cabot in the number 07. Next to him, Jonathan Owens lined up in the 45 in 12th.
13th place is Andrew Payne in the number 70. And then it'll be Michael Curhan rolling off 14th in the number 24.
Moving back to 15 is going to be Ellie Turner lined up in the 25 car. Next to him, Travis Beckner lined up in the 28.
And in 17th place, Ryan Hartz in the number 3. Drew Jua rolls off in 18th, but he is one of the drivers that will have an EOL and will start at the tail of the field.
Back in 19th is going to be number 30, Jeremy Miller. Next to him, Reese Schaefer lined up in the 97.
And 21st place is Connor Horn in the number 42. And Edward Scher Jr. in the 17 will roll off in 22nd.
Moving on back behind him, Douglas Newbegin lined up in the 71. Next to him, David Weishart is going to be lined up in the 33 in 24th.
Nick Silver starts 25th in the number 99. Trey Eitzen starts 26th in the number 78. Just keep scanning the drive-through list to make sure I'm not missing anybody.
I'm trying to do that as well. Justin Bonner lined up in the number 9 in 27. Next to him, Brent Pucari in the number 35. He's lined up in 28.
And it's Bryce Senesac rolling off 29th in the 09. Ben Pierce in the 65 starts in 30th.
Moving on back to 31st, Cameron Hearn lined up in the number 4 machine. Next to him, Blaze McKinney lined up in the 87 car in 32nd.
And 33rd place is Emerson Arden in the 57. And rolling off alongside him is the 81 of Max Service, who was up on his lid last week at Dover. He'd like to turn things back on 4 wheels here at Sonoma.
Next and behind him, number 83, Jackson Anderson in 35th. Next to him, it's going to be Ed Robertson, the 64, lined up in 36th.
37th place is Ryan Swan in the number 20. And he is one of our EOL drivers. Seth Berger in the 77 starts 38th.
Lineup in 39th is Tyler Gary, although I don't see him on his scheduled start.
He is one of the go-homers.
Right. So he's not going to be here. Got Tyler Nichols lined up in 40th in the 41.
And he is an EOL driver. Mason Kane rolls off 41st in the number 31. And then Jacob Bell will not start this race. Instead, Garrett Grant will with a drive-through to serve. And Lennon Cardolo and Dom DeLeo will wrap up the rest of the field here. So heading down towards turn 4, getting the field doubled up here. One last look at the weather. 121 degrees Fahrenheit. It is hot out there. And in reverse points order, let's choose our favorites. And Hunter, this is a bad week, I guess, for me to not get to choose first because things are looking good for the Mr. Number 7. But who do you have winning this race?
Mr. Number 7.
I knew it. Well, if I can't go with the 7, I'm going to go with the guy that has not done me wrong lately. Pick that number 1, starting on the front row, Finian.
I knew you were going to pick him. I knew you were going to do it. For me, I would pick Ricky Springer, but he has an EOL, and I actually checked this time. So I think with that, I think I could go with the guy who was scheduled to start next to him on that same row, Jake Nichols, in the number 73.
Man, we're all picking solar flare guys, but it's hard not to. They have got their skill set well-rounded. This race should take us just shy of an hour, with pit stops included. I imagine drivers will try to split this one in half. We'll see how it pans out as we're going to get one more lap around. Get everyone doubled up here. And with these hot temps, everyone would appreciate another lap to kind of feel things out, give the brakes a test. I honestly find the start of this track really hard in the run through turns 1 and 2. This is one of the sketchiest areas of the racetrack. When you turn in, you don't really have the downforce to keep the thing stuck to the road, so sometimes it's a lift, and then Finian, you're using the uphill, the gravity, to brake and slow down, so it's super easy to underbrake or completely miss the second corner here.
Yeah, this, usually at a lot of racetracks, you'll see the first couple corners, usually kind of made in a way where they can handle a big field of cars heading down there and slowly breaking up. Sonoma is not that. It's very much an old school one where it just kind of throws you into the rest of the track. A lot of tight turns, a lot of tight radiuses, up a hill, blind corner. It's very difficult to get through on the opening lap. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some incidents heading up there into the S for the first time.
Yeah, and then getting down here into turn 7, this is that's probably going to be the corner to watch tonight. Other than turn 11, if there's any late chances for guys to make a move for the win, obviously that's going to be the last corner. But turn 7, like you mentioned, it's all about how you set yourself up for the S's. You get off that turn with a bad run, you're going to be in a world of trouble with guys behind you with better run going through the S's and then leading up to turn 11.
Bailey Turner, native Californian, got the San Francisco 49ers on the car this week. So he is ready and present for his home race. See if that translates to any sort of home field advantage. So it is a trio of solar flare cars up at the pointy end here. We've got Peyton Howell right in the mix as well in that number 52. Actually no, because he had gotten that POL. So he will have that's tough for a guy like 52 who had qualified and practiced so well. But it's time to go racing in Sonoma. Race 6 of the Area Cup Series. We're on the West Coast. We're turning left and we're turning right. Green flag flies and we're racing in California. Spin, the 25 goes around. Bailey Turner, turn 2.
And it looks like with that might be the only person to go around in the first corner. Everyone else making it on through. Up and down they go through turns 3A and 3B down to turn 4 for the first time.
And gonna have to waddle it down to turn 7. They're gonna see some cars get a little bit wide on exit. That's just how turn 4 is. And then into turn 7 where we're gonna see 2 wide and maybe even 3 wide action heading in the turn.
Honestly, everyone's been pretty patient so far, as was my point. But Reese Schaefer in that number 97. Around Andrew Payne here, and Michael Curhan. Whoa, little side-by-side there with Travis Beckner. He's got his hands absolutely full as they navigate this high-speed area for the first time under power.
Yeah, they're doing the best they can here, just trying to get the tires up to temperature, feel the car out, how it feels under these conditions, how slick it is. The hottest this track has been since practice, hotter than it was in practice. As David Weishart, he was a little bit on edge there, almost dropping to the back a little bit, but picking back up ahead of him. Connor Horn making a move to the inside of the 17-inch junior. He makes his way on through, and up ahead of them, Michael Curran fighting side by side with Reese Schaefer.
And Philip Croner got hit from his right side. That was Ricky Springer in the 51. He's going to give him a little tap just to acknowledge that that was not cool, even though it was lap 1. Still got over 40 laps left, but also saw Mason Kane in the 31. He had to send to the inside in turn 11. He did not get a good qualifying time in. He actually didn't get any in, but got a lot of ground to make up early on.
And Garrett Grant has served his drive-through, or is currently serving it. James Scioli leads over Seth Knoll, Jake Nichols, and then Blaze McKinney and Justin Bondurant side-by-side here into turn 4.
Yeah, see tight quarters there. Whoa, then I'm trying to get back on Backman Kari, going way wide. And then I believe that is, who is that making a move? Is that Bryce Senizak?
It is.
That is. Making a move on the inside on the curbing, but not going to quite get the exit. Much better exit for Bonner, and he'll scatter away.
Kane's going to be side-by-side back there through the S's. Going to get real tight. This is right outside the top 20. Senizak up 8 spots since the start of this one. Looking to continue that progress forward.
I think tonight will be the hardest night to make progress and make passes. These cars are so much harder to find an advantage on your fellow competitors than what we'll see on Tuesday and Thursday in particular. But you just got to get into a rhythm, take care of your stuff, be smart about where you're sticking the nose of the car as Bondurant and Senizak go side by side once more, and Adam Cabot's watching all of this from right behind.
Get right in behind, trying to make some moves after he got an EOL, so making up for lost time. You're looking at Ryan Hart's. He made a dive on Everett Sugar Jr. Sugar Jr. who is reshaped for the immediate move on, up to 10th for him. And Cabot trying to find where he can make a move on Bryce Senizek and Bonner, and he feels held up, but he's got to watch out. Mason Kane and Drew Jewell have a chance to get on by, and they're also coming from the back.
Cabot to the inside of Senizek. Not going to have enough room there. The generator run maybe down here. Whoa, one car getting a little bit wild back there. Was that Max Service in 81?
It was, and here's Cabot fully alongside Senizek now. It's really challenging to race side by side through these S's. They're going to give it a go, though, and Cabot muscles his way by Senizek. And so many of these corners, Finney, you have to race two, not through.
Yeah, Cabot looks like he's going to win out of this exchange. Senizek trying to fight back, couldn't quite get anything out of it, but in behind them, Mason Kane, Drew Jewell fighting as well as up ahead. Travis Beckner just got past lap car. Whoa.
Connor Horn got tagged by, I think it was the 17, almost got turned into the tire bundles. Watch this. So side by side with the 97 right here gets tagged and almost gets clipped by those tires. Got away with it.
They're fighting close quarters up here in this little group. Seems to be no love lost. David Weiser trying to catch back up to Douglas Ewing. You can see him make a move on the 71 car.
Running around 15th, and he's going to be a little bit wide on that exit. He's got the 78 of Trey Eidson with a strong run to him. As we head back up, it's still the Solar Flare trio of Scioli, Nichols, and Seth Nolan second. And don't count out Matthew Bell, and even Jonathan Oates in the 45, up to 5th.
Oh. Trey Eidson going around at turn 4.
Oh! That was Ben Pierce, I think, that just tapped the tire barrier on corner exit.
Well, let's have a look at that here in a moment. Here's Eidson. Just going to jump the curb, and he'll just go for a pretty harmless spin. And then you mentioned Ben Pierce kind of followed into this. And this is one of those corners that you want to commit harder and earlier, and right there, oh, big hit there on the left. He crashed again.
Oh, as we come back to the live shot.
Yeah, I think the suspension was all torqued down here. Let's see if it just walks away on him or if there was some contact. No, he just jumps the curb and
Oh, wow.
catches the tires. Conor Okresic into pit lane here, guys. Do you think this is scheduled or not?
And I'm trying to see. Didn't have a black flag or anything, so I guess so. That's interesting.
The only thing I can think of is fuel mileage, but with no yellow, it would almost be pointless to go in and just do fuel only because tires would be obliterated at that point, but we'll learn more on it as the race rolls on.
Bit of a battle for the lead, kicking off here. Seth Knoll keeping Scioli very honest here within a couple tenths of a second. And Jay Nichols is lingering in the back. I don't know that this will be an easy Scioli win like we maybe would have said in the past. Knoll's really in a good spot right now. 3 wins on the season. Confidence is at an all-time high. And if he could add a road course to his resume, I think he'd be stoked.
And for a quick update on his stop, yeah, he came in just for fuel 4 seconds in the box. So that's a peculiar strategy. The only thing I can see that working for him is him getting some clean air to work with. But other than that, that's a bit interesting for him to just come down for fuel. It's a lot of time lost in pit lane.
It was indeed a scheduled stop for Okresic, so see if it pays off in the long run. For now, still 40 laps to go, and I know that might not seem like a lot, but at a track like Sonoma, it is a good bit, about minute 16 on these lap times now, almost half a second off from when we started the race.
Top 3, keep it tight. Matthew Bell has honestly been impressive as well. Was kind of out of left field for us, Finney, and I feel. I don't know that I had him circled on the list of drivers that have a lot of road course skills, but he's showing it today. And then Travis Beckner in the 28, he's got Greg Mitchell in his sights. But let's go back to the very start of the race, because when we were running up the hill here, we saw the 25 go around. Was it off the bumper of the 28?
See here, kinda. Looks like the 28 of Beckner got into current. He checked up and then unfortunately caught Bailey Turner in the mess. So wasn't purposeful, just incident there. And there's Beckner making a move to the inside of Greg Mitchell. Michael Curran trying to follow on through. He'll be nearly side by side with his teammate. Actually let him back in line through turn 12. And now move Beckner up to 6th place.
It's going to be tough for Beckner to try and overthrow the trio of Solar Flare Racing up there. But as far as Tuesday night and Thursday night, as he's got a little bit of a wiggly turn there in turn 2. But the trucks in the Pro Series, he'll be a factor, no doubt about it. Michael Curran, the defending Cup champ, running in 7th, trying to make up ground. And Kyle, to your point about Matthew Bell, he's had 2 road course starts in the Cup Series, top 10s in both of them.
Yeah, that should signal something there. A couple other drivers hit pit lane. Matthew Morton, Philip Groner, they were sort of towards the rear of the field, but there is something to making a fuel-only stop pretty early in the race. Look at how much Seth Knoll is attacking the curbing in the S's. I think that's helping him a lot, Finian, getting turning without having to resort to sliding the tires, just kind of straddling the rumble strips and helping him steer this car.
Yeah, I think there definitely is something to it with the way he's making a move. Just hanging out in behind James Scarlett. And I imagine these three have a slight truce at the moment. Try not to ruffle the feathers. Just keep their gap going. They got a solid 1.7 second gap back to Matthew Bell, lined up in 4th. Jonathan Oates then rounding out your top 5. He's having a quiet day in the 45 at 5th.
Just noticing now, Andrew Payne and Connor Horn swapping the 10th position around, and that's because we have pit stops, Kyle. Payne is in.
Yeah, a lot more drivers making pit stops. Steven Weishart's down here as well. Ricky Springer has just come into the pit lane, so this has kind of started a waterfall of strategy. And I'm curious to see if anybody puts tires on the car as well, or if it's just going to be a fuel only.
I don't think Weishart put tires on 6.1. That's another thing I didn't even think about. Tire wear could be pretty much non-existent at that point if we're seeing more than one driver come in and just put fuel in the car.
Have a look at lap times. Last time through, Knoll was a little quicker than James Scioli. Nichols was quicker still in that 73.
And off you'll go. Top 3 of them all running fairly close on pace. Actually, mixed battle kind of lurking in behind. Travis Beckner catching up to Jonathan Oates in the 45. He's making trails up the road. Started in 16th and already knocking on the doors of the top 5. Going to make a move to the inside. Looks like Oates left the door open, I guess, to get a better exit to try to see if he can keep off Travis Beckner.
Going to be interesting how Beckner sizes up Oates heading into turn 1. Pay attention to the throttle and the brake.
He has so much patience. You just want to mat the throttle down and get a better exit, but you can't just, you're so grip limited that you actually have to, you determine your acceleration rate by when you get to the apex of the corner. You can't really accelerate before then, you'll just slide the rear end, but Beckner's being pretty patient right now, even though the intensity on his face might say otherwise.
So trying to keep cool, calm, and collected as much as you can. And just being calm, being nice to the car, respecting the tires, respecting the throttle, and letting the car come to you. Works on trailing down Jonathan Oates, who's still putting up a fight. And for Beckner, I'm sure he wants to get past as soon as he can, because then he can try to have a shot at not only Matthew Bell, but the race leaders as well.
Going to size him up for turn 11. Going to try and get a run on the outside. See if he can cross him over here through the exit. But Michael Curran is slowly approaching. Going to apply more pressure to the 28.
Yeah, turn 11 is one of those corners, just like Coda turn 1. It's designed to crash race cars, right? It leaves you such a wide berth on entry. It just invites you to dive in there. And Beckner kind of took an interesting line going in there wide to set up for the exit. But now he's being held up here by Oates. And the intensity might start to rise because of the proximity of Curhan. So when and where do you make your move? This is one of those tracks where you spend about a mile and a half setting up for your one passing opportunity.
Beckner all over the back bumper, almost ready to push him off into turn 4. I think he's trying to see if he can maybe get a run down to here. Not quite there.
Curran applying more pressure to him. Curran has finished inside the top 5 in every road course race he's had in the Cup Series. Travis Beckner has only done that once, but he's finished inside the top 10 in the rest of his starts. All 5 starts for him as well. So both these guys are looking to enter the top 5, but Jonathan Oates holding him up.
That's a crazy stat about Curhan. Look at the big slide for Beckner. He is pushing, and it's going to leave him vulnerable now to Curhan here, down into 11. He doesn't protect. It's too late to. And Curhan's going to get this spot lock up on the inside.
And big thing to consider is when you start sliding on the tires, you generate a lot of heat, and the tires really start to lose grip for a couple of corners. So you got to let them kind of cool back down the surface temperature of the tire and get that grip back. So Beckner doesn't really have much to fight back with, and I think he might see, well, okay, Michael Curran, you try to make a move on Oates, and I'll try to follow on through.
Beckner's going to try and cross him over. Not going to have enough to get a run there, but Greg Mitchell watching in the distance as those three do battle for the top 5 position and even 6th as Beckner's still applying pressure to Curran.
Well, Beckner's a little wide there at 4, has to avoid that tire wall. One of my favorite games of chicken in road racing is missing that wall by half an inch. You can get so close to it. Leaders
flirting with the limit.
Yeah, leaders still less than half a second apart here. Scioli has not been faster the last handful of laps, Finian, but he's just being smart and protecting.
And I think that's exactly what you need to do is just kind of, keep a steady pace going. Don't want to push too hard. Don't want to burn up your stuff. Keep a solid momentum going forward. And for him, I mean, there's no reason to push more. I think he's keeping a solid pace. Everyone else in behind, especially with his teammates there. Look at Adam Cabot. He's got a mirror full of Drujua in the 13. Is going to pull off to the right side, a dive, and actually Cabot going to go into the pits.
Going to come in for some fuel. Meanwhile, Nick Silver is the next victim that Drujua has placed for him, and battle for 5th heats up more. Kyle Beckner to next to Curran. I was going to say to the inside, but wow, there's so many different turns here. You're on the inside one corner and the outside the next.
That was super clean what he just did. Kind of wrap the outside of turn 3. That's not easy to do. Once he got there, he was able just to slide back ahead of Michael Curran. So job well done to get that spot earned back. He can focus his energy back on the 73 finish.
And almost every time we see it pass through turn 3, it's usually extremely awkward, and he managed to have the grace of a swan through there, making that maneuver. So hats off to the 28 to make that move back up to 6. But now again, he's got to still get past Jonathan Oates. And Oates is building up a cube in behind with Beckner, Curran, and Greg Mitchell slowly entering the fray, and the number 2 in behind him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Matthew Bell had an incident or not, because he was at 1.2 seconds behind the leader. He's now down to 8 seconds.
Yeah, he's slow. He was slow on this lap. Was out of turn 4. Went for a little bit of a ride.
Oh.
Yeah, this is back, as Finian mentioned, leaving turn 4, and just carries a little too much speed in there, hops the curb funky, and goes for a big lateral slide, and just nibbles the wall, but I don't think it'll cause any damage to his car.
No, I think it really, if anything, the biggest damage will really be to the tires, just from locking him down. And then he's also now got 4 hungry drivers in behind him that would love to take away his spot. And a couple more drivers coming down to pit lane. Drujua is down on pit lane. Jeremy Miller as well. So more and more drivers trickling on down. I would say we're just about at the 1/3 mark. So if you wanted to catch some fresh tires, I don't think they would really be worth it, but maybe worth coming down, especially if you're burning them up quite a bit so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, they'd be worth it at that point if you're locking them up and then you're starting to feel more of a wheel hop start to take effect in your race car, as Beckner still all over the bumper of Jonathan Oates. Oates is kind of holding this whole train back with Beckner, Curran, and Mitchell. Beckner gives a little bump to the 73, sets him up for turn 11.
That's ringing the doorbell here. See how long he'll wait. As Curran tried to get down to the inside of Beckner. Beckner to the inside there and forced his way there. He's alongside, but now he's driver's right for turn 1. And for turn 12, for that matter. And this is the challenge of racing at Sonoma. Will Oates give it up to him? Leaves him a space to the inside, and Beckner powers through.
Oh, hard fought right there, and Oates started really to do the best he can to defend. Unfortunately, wasn't able to do so. He's going to go a little bit wide in turn 2, and I think it's going to see Michael Curran try to get back there, see if he can make a move into turn 3.
See if Oates regroups, refocuses, and looks like he got off that part of 3A just fine. Greg Mitchell behind Curran, though, going to give a little bit of a... Oh, we had a little bit of a moment there, so forget everything I just said.
Watch this on entry here. Watch this bump. You'll see the track change color right here. Big bump on the entry. That really causes you strife when you're trying to slow down and get the car woed up for that corner.
Big incident in the hairpin. Peyton Howell and Adam Cabot coming together.
This is a bump too, just of a different type.
Wow. That's a really interesting one. I don't know if we can get another angle, but the 52 from that view looked like he had a bit of a wonky turn there.
The 07 locked up and was wide, and Howell filled the gap, and 07 turned in. So
that explains that then.
And they end up right back next to each other on the racetrack.
The irony, right?
And I think Douglas Newbegin was, he's in pit lane. Ignore that. Go back to this spicy little fight.
I can't imagine a lot of loss between these two. And Adam Camp looks like his nose.
Oh, boy.
Fender's about to come off, and it might come off more if they make some more contact here. Howell going to wrestle on by through the S's, and there's Philip Groner behind. He's also trying to work his way on through.
Well,
Groner with a good look to the inside.
He just kicked the dog while he's down, right? Here comes the 07 or on the outside trying to maintain this spot. He will not be able to, so through goes Groner, and then right behind Max. Whoop, who was that right behind? Was that? It's a red car. I didn't catch who it was, but never mind. Let's go back to the lead. 3/10 apart.
Trying to get close up here with these two. Again, don't quite expect anything to happen at the moment, although there might be something happening back here. Douglas Newbegin to go 3 wide with Drew Druid to the inside, entering turn 4. And do they sort it out? Someone do.
They all left each other so much
jump.
room. One guy went totally left, one guy went right over the curb, and the other went right down the middle. As Connor Horn stays on the racetrack, Edward Sherritt Jr. hits pit lane, lap 15.
Really wondering, you're seeing that with people coming in. The fuel seems to be close. I wonder if anyone out there, I have to imagine someone's going to try to save fuel and make it.
I didn't even think that was a possibility.
I mean, because we saw people come in as soon as lap 3 and lap 4, so it's not, I can't imagine it's too much, and then especially if some drivers get creative with, up-down shifting and clutching it in, you might be able to save a bit. I have to slow the pace down a little bit, but you might be able to save a pit stop, and that could save you quite a lot. See the one of Seth Knoll having zero regard for the curbs.
You just see the sparks fly out of that thing. I mean, that was unbelievable. Watch again when he turns back across the road here. Look underneath the car and just skateboards across it, spitting out bits of diffuser, absolutely attacking the racetrack.
Can you tell who doesn't pay you for the race car? That guy right there. See Michael Curran make a dive to the inside of Oaks. Was trying to see if he can do the over-under out of turn 11, but not enough power in that 45, so he will be back into, I believe, 7th place. Yes, he will.
Meanwhile, just a little further up the road, Beckner's gone around Matthew Bells to the 4th position, so Beckner's still starting to make that climb towards the front. But that trio of Scioli, Knoll, and Nichols over 10 seconds in front of him.
Yeah, Knoll was a little off, but Beckner was quick, or as quick as Knoll last time around. So he is matching the pace of those front runners. Here's a couple of guys that have already pitted. Bryce Senesac and Jeremy Miller. Miller's going to go for a ride.
A little bit off-roading, not on the rallycross course. Whoa!
That was a very interesting ride there for him. I'm not sure if that was disapproval or just the 30 coming up in an awkward position for Senesac.
I think he just kind of wanted to go, and Miller kind of closed that off. Yeah, I see why he didn't lift. Now, all sorts of action around this racetrack. Here's Andrew Payne and Bailey Turner. This is for 16th place.
Yeah, Bailey Turner trying to make up after his spin on the opening lap. He's recovered pretty well, all things considered, although he has not yet the pit and kind of leading, or sorry, I shouldn't say he's leading. He's near the end of the split when we start to see really Andrew Payne, the highest running of drivers, did come in for a first stop. Everyone else mostly has pit in behind him. Bailey Turner up have yet to come down pit lane for the first time this race, and we're slowly getting to the halfway mark, and I'm still seeing less and less people pit. Whoa! Those two drivers very wide, now offline.
Both just drove in well. Yeah, Morton drove in there pretty hot, made some contact. And trouble for Connor Horn. He's around at turn 4.
And turn 4, the trouble corner for for today.
Just got wide up onto the rumbles and spun it around after that. But this suspension is not very compliant. It's not fast to nail that curb on exit or entry, but in the trucks and Xfinity cars, it's a lot more compliant, and it doesn't ruin your day so much when you get on top of it.
Did you guys see that mistake from Connor?
Happens to the best of them.
Yeah, we've actually road raced with Connor in the iRacing endurance races, and he's generally pretty calculated, but that's just how on edge these cars are when you get them airborne, and the springs are so stiff. These cars don't have any ground clearance or compliance, like I said, the trucks and Xfinity cars do. So when things go wrong, it's just such an aggressive snap.
Yeah, looking at Matthew Morton in behind Edward Jr. made contact at this corner, one lap ago. We'll see if some things change or some things remain the same as they head into their almost side-by-side. Looks like Morton's going to be a little bit more conservative on the braking, and there is the 51 of Ricky Springer still recovering from his EOL. He has come down to pit lane as well for one time, so he's working up through the order.
That's the head honcho behind Morton, Ricky Springer, part of the Slinger Racing Graphics Esports team.
Nice
trying to work his way. Yeah, still trying to work his way through. I believe he pitted.
He did.
Yes.
From the earlier takers, lap 11. Morton's a little wide here up at turn 3A and onto the rumble strip. That'll leave him vulnerable. This is a tricky place to make a pass, but they're going to go side by side through 4. Springer has to nail the curb, and he's going to try to open up a pass into 7 here as well, and he will.
Excuse me on your car. Thank you. Thank you.
No, not quite.
He's actually going to fight it.
Look at how much the brake.
Whoa.
There he gave it.
You almost saw those two cars break in half, but I was going to talk about the brakes as they were going through turn 7. Really glowing red here, and we're not even halfway through.
The Cardolo's got Drew Jua all over his rear bumper. Mentioned halfway through. We're getting close to it. Yeah, Mason Kane is slow. Let's check in on, well, he's in pit lane. We don't get the pit notification until they're pretty far down pit road, so it looks like they're going off until they hit pit road.
There's Drew Jua and Cardolo fighting for position. And actually, here's the interesting thing. The leaders are not too far behind these guys. They're just about to enter the hairpin section. So the leaders are working really quickly through the field.
Look at the lap times. 1:17.5, 1:17.2, 1:17.2. Beckner ran a 1:16.6. So I think that there's some strategy already at play with these front runners, Phineas.
Yeah, they are in their own zip code and just kind of pushing it off, but they are backing off the pace now, and I think most part of it might be due to working through traffic. Maybe they are kind of slowing things down, maybe trying to save some fuel, save some tire. We'll see. We're catching up to that halfway point, and again, the really big thing is once you hit halfway, you can make it on one stop.
Connor Horn, even after his spin, is still just on the outside of the top 10, running in 11th. Went a bit wide there through turn 11, but it'll be interesting to see what he does if he comes down pit road at all.
These guys up front have slowed the pace down nearly a second a lap. I think I know exactly what they're doing. And this is, I think they're going to try that strategy. They've got pace. They established a lead. Now they can afford to spend time saving fuel. Or a guy like Travis Beckner, you know, if he wants to catch those leaders, he has to push. But the lap traffic is going to make this a bit harder and more interesting than I thought it might otherwise be. Here they come.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's really just not worth it. You can definitely save this stop. You're saving almost 30 seconds coming down pit lane, you know, effectively around 15 to 20 seconds on the racetrack. So that's a huge time saving. You can just save that fuel, and a bumper-to-bumper traffic there through the hairpin as they try to work past lap car of Jeremy Miller and Adam Cabot.
I'll say both 609 Motorsport teammates right there trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do, but they're in front of the leaders, and that was almost drastic because that could have ended up in a swapping of the lead for Scioli, Knoll, even Jake Nichols, if anything, had it in front too.
Now Beckner backed it down as well. Again, it's hard to tell if this is from traffic or from a strategy perspective, but they definitely have slowed it down and pretty quickly. It just went from 1:16.6 to 1:17.5 within a lap.
Well, they're coming to complete lap 22. Effectively, this time by, they can come in and they should be able to make it to make it on one more stop. So we'll see what the leaders effectively decide to do. You know, it could also be a chance for them to get out of some heavy traffic that they're trying to work on by. Adam Cabot, he's finally going to let some of the leaders on by. He's still fighting hard with Seth Nolo through the S's.
Looking in car with Brent Pucari is on board. He's got a different look every week, and very unique for him, but running in the 16th spot, still squeaky clean in that 35.
Yeah, just got passed by Andrew Payne. He ran a little slower than he had previously. Scioli got a second lead out of all that drama and puts Jake Nichols right on the bumper of Seth Knoll. And Beckner's back here as well. And he backed down to about a 17.3 last time. Gap is 6.7. Matthew Bell's right there with him.
He was flirting with the barrel of the tire barriers on entry pit lane there for a second. Got awfully close to them on the left side. So now these guys are on lap 23, so they should be able to make it from here.
Oh, they definitely can make it from here. I think you go at least 30 laps maybe, but if these guys are trying to push it to the whole race, will be interesting to see as this unfolds. Meanwhile, the 3 of Hearts running inside the top 10. Solid run for him tonight. On board with him as he's looking to get around the 2 of Greg Mitchell with a lap car in front of him.
Battle inside the top 10 here. Big wiggle over the crest there at 3A and down into 4. That lap car ain't going to make the corner. Looks to be the 57 of Emerson Arden. And Mitchell goes by. Hearts is going to as well. And for the lead, guys.
Seth Knoll pushing a little bit harder, it seems, as he works past Jeremy Miller. Now Jake Nichols and behind also trying to do the same.
Oh, that's as close as Knoll's been all night, but didn't get into him. And Travis Beckner still closing in, 7.5 seconds separating him from the lead.
Yeah, the lap prior to this, he did a 16.6. The leaders again, well, they picked it back up, 16.5 for Knoll. 16.7 for Jake Nichols and a 17.1 for Scioli. So they're fluctuating around. Makes it pretty tricky if you're Travis Beckner to really kind of hone in on exactly what their strategy is. Is it traffic? Is it trying to make it? It's really difficult to know when you can't see them directly. Are they being held up or are they purposely slowing it down? It appears that they are in some sort of collusion here up front to work together at least.
Yeah, they're definitely not pushing from what it seems like. They're running a comfortable pace, and I think that's just what they're trying to set here to see if they can make it to the end.
As the kids say, they're not pushing P, they're pushing E, as in easy. They're keeping it easy right now.
Never heard that
I don't
one
think
before.
that's what the kids mean by that.
Yeah. I haven't heard that one, I'll be honest. Len Cardello, Weishart, Newbegin. This is 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Ooh, they're both in the wall. A little bit of target fixation there. Peyton Howell working his way forward still after the UL at the beginning. Oh.
Whoa, Newbegin way offline. Struggling with his car.
Saved the Ocean car, jumped ship there, didn't he?
Able to get it back under control.
Did not see what I did there? All right.
I bet.
That was such a way funnier joke than I got credit for, by the way. 17 and 51 door to door into the S's, and you just can't fight that.
No, and very close nose to tail. Matthew Morton, teammate to 51, he's trying to work his way on through and follow the 51 of Springer up the road.
You want to know a funnier joke, Kyle?
What's that?
Corey LaJoy.
Got him. Stacking pennies, baby.
He's stacking burgers next year.
Honestly, I can relate to Corey for that reason, at least. Brett Hukari, I think, is entering pit lane. The 5 of Garrett Grant is as well. And 20 laps to go next time by. We're in the final 25 minutes of this race, and now we'll start to see when the strategies all kind of play out here.
Seems like, I mean, the leaders are trying to push this as long as they can. The question is, can they make it to the end? And will they be able to save enough? They have a decent gap, although Beckner has actually caught back up. The gap was around 10 seconds at one point. Beckner down to almost 8 seconds, the gap between himself and the leaders.
Outbreak still going on. Mitchell staying in front of the 3 of Hearts as we see more cars coming down pit road.
Trey Eidson is the car that you saw there. And it just appears like every stop was a fuel only. I don't think anyone has taken tires. So I think we'll see that be the case. So effectively, it seems like it's going to be probably a one-stop or no-stop race. But if you're going to one stop, but it's either you're going to pit on lap 5 to 11 or lap 36 to 41.
40, yeah. So only time will tell how it's going to play out for these drivers. And if that's carrying the tires a long way. And I'm a bit surprised because it almost seemed like we saw more tire wear from this car this season compared to seasons past. So I was expecting it to be a little bit more at Sonoma compared to what we've seen in the past, but not much has changed, it seemed. As whoa, there goes Gordon, I believe, wide to let the lap cars on by, the leaders on by, I should say. Ooh.
Bad exit there.
Yeah.
Bad exit for the one on Nolan. Now he's got Jake Nichols hounding him down, trying to take second away.
I just wonder when the rules of engagement will let these guys fight. I think if Scioli isn't just controlling the pace beautifully, I think Seth is quicker. And Jake might even be quicker than that, but they've all been coordinating so nicely. When the gloves come off, I'm curious to see who's got the pace.
That is a big question mark, because at some point, you got to kind of fight amongst yourselves. You buffered enough of a gap where no one's really catching you. Saved your tires enough to carry you so long into the race. Effectively no stops with Mason Kane out wide. So is, I believe, I believe it's Bondurant, sorry, in the number 9. But as the leaders work their way through, they've lapped everyone up to 24th place.
I love this camera shot. One of my favorite in all of racing.
Right, Hart's a little wide there.
I'd love a corner just like that, but like 25 miles an hour faster. Bring it on, baby. Let's put some spike strips up right next to that wall. Like a Red Bull can or something. You can knock the cap off.
Or some styrofoam barriers.
Something that explodes when you hit it.
Yeah, styrofoam barrier would be perfect.
I was thinking like C4.
Oh, a little too exciting.
Maybe a little shrapnel in the cockpit. That you don't want that.
David Weishart, shrapnel in the mirror of Landon Cardullo right now as Cardullo chases the car across the road here through 3A. Weishart's going to apply some pressure here into turn 4.
Yeah, try to hope your competitor makes a mistake, force them into a mistake as they get past the lap car Blitz Heitzen that they just worked on through. And now into turn 7, boys are taking a slightly wider line to get a better run through the S's here.
Also, just thinking about it, if you had like some C4 there and you wanted to get revenge on someone, you would go from battling for a position to battling against a vehicular manslaughter charge.
Well, add it to Austin Dillon's charge list, I guess. Down through the S's. Seth Knoll chases Scioli. It's half a second back for these front two. Curhan and Oates are back in a fight again. And Curhan's getting a little held up there by the 07 of Cabot, who's already made his pit stop.
Yeah, Oates caught quite a bit. And now, like you mentioned, the 07 holding up the 24 of Curhan, and Oates all over the back of him trying to find if he makes a mistake.
See just how much he has to turn through turn 11. That's how tight it is, and don't want to get off that too bad because then the 45 will be ready to pounce at any moment.
Put a wall down there this year, but that was no fun. Where down at turn 11 on the inside.
Oh yeah.
Here comes Newbigging up the inside of Cardullo. Little lockup, little contact there, door to door.
Cardullo wasn't expecting him to make a move down there into turn 7, and Newbigging was there, made the move. He's up to 21st.
Cardullo moving down, Newbigging moving up, and then, well, these guys kind of staying the same right now. Curran, Jonathan Oates 6th and 7th on board with Oates. Gonna have a real nice exit here, or I thought he was. He had a real nice middle of the turn.
One of the things I don't get to appreciate enough, given that I've only ever been to NASCAR road races, is how good the trackside sounds are. Let's just listen for a moment. For those that have been to a road race before, the sound of stock cars ripping by, bouncing over curbs, that is a nostalgic sound. even with the next gen changing the audio track just a little bit. The front three have been within about a second and a half of each other since the drop of the green flag. James Scioli has led every lap. But as we described earlier, guys, there's still a lot of strategy to play out. They've been three of the fastest cars on the racetrack when they want to be. Question becomes, I imagine that they'll be the three leaders when they come back out, but in what order and who's going to have the pace when they really start to push?
Yeah, it's going to really be, I think, the big question is who's been pushing too hard, who's been saving their stuff if they have been, because more or less they are at the same pace, but I would argue the one, possibly the 73 are faster than the 7 of Scioli. So, and then, like you mentioned, if they do have to pit, who's going to bite first, and will that benefit them or not?
Curran is going to take the bite, 15 to go, why not?
There's a trick to this pit lane, because in iRacing, your pit lane delta is only done by your speed, not by your position over time. Gonna hug that inside lane as best you can around the tight corners there. Mitchell is in behind him as well, so he's gonna roll on through. And Springer and Morton battle for 15th on the racetrack. The highest driver who has already made a pit stop that is back out on the racetrack at the moment is gonna be Michael Curhan. So all the drivers that pit earlier in this race are, I guess, without tires. It makes sense that they would come out behind.
Yep, it does make sense. Yeah, just hearing word, Justin Bondurant and Jonathan Oates got into some contact off of turn 3B.
It's about a minute to go. Let's see what happened. Here they are heading up towards turn number 2. Oates in the car right behind here, and I wonder if they were arguing over this position here. Doors open. Oh, it's just kind of ran wide, got into the 9, and a little tussle there.
Heard Bondurant on the radio. Wasn't too thrilled with the move from 45.
Yeah, at first I thought you were saying the other way around. I go, oh, he didn't really do anything wrong, but
No.
yeah. Springer's caught Turner here. This will be a bit of a battle for 14th.
Yeah, we expect Springer is good to go, so he's all set to go to the end. So he's just picking up positions at this point. So we'll get past the 25 of Bailey Turner up to 14th, and Morton's also going to follow on through, or at least try to follow on through. It's going to be a drag race between himself and the 25 across the start-finish line.
Morton to the outside, and now he'll have the run on the inside as they roll through turn 2. Turner going to settle in behind, try to get a run, but can't quite do it.
Honestly, I have to say, we are 32 laps into this race. I'm honestly impressed at how little drama there's been. I mean, we really haven't seen a lot of incidents, even single car. There's 4 drivers that are out: Okresic, Anderson, Hearn, and Pierce. But I haven't really seen much in the way of contact crashes. They've done a really nice job tonight. And it's been pretty compelling. There's always been a battle to follow.
It's always been a battle to follow. It's all been really close, and I guess we cut to the blimp shot. You'll probably see everyone scattered across the racetrack at the moment. But your 2 drivers that are close together, they're the 2 of Greg Mitchell and the 3 of Ryan Hart. You see everyone kind of spread out there all across the racetrack. But here these 2 are finding themselves barreling towards turn 11. And actually, Hartz was able to get by Mitchell not too long ago. He was chasing him down for quite a few laps, but Hart's a little bit off on, Hart's came off pit lane. That's where they exchanged. And I think that's going to be a big thing to come to Strategy Hunter, is when you come down to pit lane.
Or if you even come down at all. I mean, the first 8 cars, they have yet to come down pit road. Reese Schaefer as well. Michael Curran is the only one inside the top 10 that's come down at some point. Now that, granted, for fuel. What about the 7, the 1?
Lunch for the lead. Here comes
73.
Seth Knoll. Going to fly down the inside. Coming to 12 laps to go. The gloves are off here, guys, for the top spot.
Yeah, looks like he's done waiting, ready to make a move. And he's not giving up. Well, he's going to have to, unfortunately, as Scioli was able to win out of that exchange.
A decent attempt from the one of Knoll, but to no avail. Or is that just something to put in your pocket and keep it for later?
Yes. I mean, if he wanted to use up the 7 on exit there, he probably could have. But see how he's staying to the right here. You don't really have much of a choice. So you're trying to get a straighter launch onto the straightaway. Otherwise, you get run into the wall there. But through turn 4, I'd say this is a battle on.
Bit earlier, engaged a bit earlier than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Matt Bell just hit pit lane. I think they're feeling safe to fight amongst themselves now. They've kind of separated themselves into their own group, and I don't even think Travis Beckner is going to pose much of a threat to them in the final 10 or so laps of this race.
Yeah, I don't think so either, and I think Beckner's kind of realized that he's kind of in the middle of his own zip code. He's 7 seconds back from Jake Nichols and 7 seconds ahead of Jonathan Oates. Beckner is kind of in his own place in line. I think he's just going to kind of run this out and secure a solid top 5 if he can.
Really, if these guys decide to pit at some points, we're looking at a little slow-mo here.
Yeah, watch the 7 on corner entry here. And you'll see just the slightest little lockup. Just saw a little puff of smoke and the right front tire stopped rotating. That just tells me that James is not saving anything on corner entry. He drove that car up into 11 hard. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it's not full-blown battle just yet, but Seth Knoll didn't look like he made that move accidentally a lap ago. Look at him hopping the curbs. This is a different, Skyly dropping a tire. This is a different sort of situation than we've seen the last few times around.
Well, but Emerson Arden off to the side trying to wait for a gap in traffic for him to get going again. He's been kind of struggling a little bit. I saw him off to the side in turn 1 about a lap or 2 ago.
Oh,
He could send I don't know that he did. Let's have another look. Could have been net code, but it looked like he just kind of looped it on his own there.
Actually, more contact. He was trying to get righted and back in the right direction. Unfortunately, Ed Robertson caught him in that same place.
Oh, well, the 07 at some point lost his front bumper.
So I think right here.
Pretty constant stream of cars. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That wasn't... Is that Robertson?
yes.
I don't know that he read that super great, because but either way, it's tough. Just didn't really read which direction the car was going to go as Emerson pulled back to the right.
Yeah, Ed Robertson, though, already having a rough day. He's 10 laps down.
Yeah.
So bad day gone worse for him. Seth Knoll, though, having a great day so far.
All three of
He
us.
can make it an even better day.
I mean, the problem is I can't make up a lot of points on you guys if you guys also do well. But
I think we both did a really good picking these three.
our points are going to close up if they finish as is, because Hunter picked James, I picked Seth, and Finian picked Jake. So,
Seth Knoll had a little whoopsie daisy there. Here comes Jake Nichols.
No, stay back there. I got skin in this game, boys.
Don't need any commentators curse now.
And pit stop for the 7. That is interesting. I thought they'd all come down together.
I mean, I guess they figured at some point need to make a strategy call.
I was just about to say,
going to be the first one to bite.
I was just about to say as well, it's about 33 to 35 seconds if you're just doing a splash and go. So he won't fall outside the top 6. He'll come out P6 after this, but something to keep an eye on for. So at least they'll stay inside the top 10, but Michael Cran looking to get a little further up on the leaderboard. He's got Matthew Bell right in front of him, as well as Connor Horn in the 42.
Yeah, Cran's trying to keep his top 5 streak alive, and he should be in that position if he gets around the 8 here.
Oh, James Scully almost just got turned with Adam Cabot coming out off the pit lane. He was trying to make sure he got in front of the 07, but this is really tight.
Ooh, that was a little sketchy. When did Cabot's nose come off?
That is a great question. I know it was loose at one point. He might have gotten some extra damage elsewhere and finally took the thing off. A little bite next, neither.
Oh, Knowles in really hot, locked it up. Now he's got clean air. This is the time to push.
Yeah, I think really the best way to use the pit stop is if you're coming up on a bunch of lap cars that you're working, or you know you need to get past, try to come down pit lane and get yourself out of that traffic. It'll save you some time. As we look at Connor Horn, bobbing and weaving on through. He's currently running in 7th place. Got Matthew Bell and Michael Curran in behind.
A very interesting battle for the 7th position as Horn looking to boost and boogie away, but Matthew Bell closing in. Michael Curran really closing in all over the bumper of the 8. And Connor Horn's going to come into pit road.
And Bell on defense from Curhan. Swung over to the right, at least in time with him. It wasn't considered a block, and not that I'm sure it would matter. But blocks, especially on road courses, are a self-policing act. I think he got there in time to be fairly defensive, though.
Comes Seth Knoll and Jake Nichols coming by pit lane again.
Traffic will make this interesting. Well,
as he goes to the other heel pull off. Whoa, in the background, Douglas Newbegin just wiped out in turn 10.
Boy, Nichols closing in about half a second back, but are these guys going to have enough to pit? Because Scioli led a good bit of that, and you are burning more fuel as you're leading, but on a road course, I would think it'd be a little bit difficult between when and where you want to save.
Yeah, I don't know how significant burning more fuel is out front at a road course like this one in particular. I don't know that that'll be a measurable effect. That will, though. Traffic in particular. And I think what's going to help Seth is that he's had clear air. And what I mean by clear air is not necessarily the physical air, but just he doesn't have a car that he has to slow down behind every corner, and that's going to pick up his speed. And he's run within 2/10 of his best lap. What tire fall off, guys? This has all been intentional all along. He just ran a 116.281. His best is a 116 flat. So these tires are effectively as good as they were at the start.
Kind of insane. It's really genuinely insane. Iris, please look at this.
Well, we thought that there was tire wear, but it was just everyone artificially backing their pace down.
Yeah.
To try to save a little bit of fuel.
Up, and
here comes a 73.
Goes Nichols in a pit lane. So the next one of the Solar Flare drivers to bite up near the top. So he will come on down, and the question will be, where does he end up in relation to James Scioli?
Pit time is about 33 seconds, Kyle, but I'm not sure. Does that stall?
41. Tyler Nichols. Hold that thought. Jumped the curb and around he went. And Hunter, you were saying?
I was about to say, the pit time, does that begin when they're like on the entry, or is it after they go through the right-hand turn?
It's after they go through the right-hand turn. That's effectively the commitment line, which here is pretty late, but Finian caught it. Scioli out ahead of Nichols.
Yeah, I was about to say there's going to be close off of pit lane. Scioli ahead of Jake Nichols, so no change in the order there. So that means Seth Knoll still has some time he may want to try to make up. And he's got quite a bit of clean air ahead of him. Not a whole lot of traffic ahead, so Doug's one, just light him up. Get ready to go.
Only two cars have yet to pit. It's Seth Knoll and Travis Beckner. Everyone else at some point has come down pit road. Well,
there goes
McKinney. Here comes the 1.
So let's wait for this pit time. So for the 7, it was 33.1 with a 5.8 second pit stop. Seth Knoll's down to now 40 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour, and the clock begins ticking. Halfway through his pit time already. Hasn't even gotten to the box yet.
Yeah, and Scioli's already entering turn 11 right there.
Travis Beckner's in as well.
So the final few drivers that have yet to come into their pit stall are finally arrived there, and now it's a matter of the race off pit lane. Knoll is rolling. Will Scioli have enough of an overlap to get ahead? It's going to be close.
No.
And the 1 will get ahead.
That's all it takes. Those couple laps of having clear air, Hunter, puts Seth Knoll in the lead of this race with 5 laps to go.
Not by much, though. The 7 all over the bumper of the 1. I think the gloves are about to come off here, even though all 3 Solar Flare cars are inside the top 3.
This is what we've been waiting for now that they've gotten all their strategy out of the way. These 3 teammates, they're all in pretty good shape as far as the championship is concerned. Knoll leaves the door open here at the hairpin. That was a surprise to me. And Scioli's going to jam his number 7 down the inside, and they're door-to-door in the S's.
I think Knoll has the advantage, though. If he can hang on, trying to hang on side by side with the number 7, get the run off the corner as they go through the right-hander, now the long left-hander. And where does Jake Nichols go in all of this?
He's just going to sit back and watch as the 1 and the 7 side by side for the win. Here comes Nichols with a run to the inside. Going to try and make it 3 wide, but the one shuts the door to the inside.
Knoll's in hot. He's in too hot, I think. No, he got it slowed down. Scioli back to second. Nichols filters into third. 4 laps to go here at Sonoma, and it's a 3-way teammate battle for the top spot.
I think you can definitely tell they've stopped saving anything they have right now. It's all push right now. In the last couple of laps here, there you see Scioli looking off to the right side, just trying to see if he can offset, maybe make the one, force him into an error. Got so close on the last lap. And the big thing too is now that these guys are going to be start pushing is just not burning up the tires, overheating the tires, because they're going to start getting slick, and it's only going to get worse.
Already slick enough, over 40 laps on these tires for everyone in the field, well, mostly everyone in the field, but the top 3 did not come in for tires, they came in for fuel, and they're still duking it out for the win, but Nichols getting closer to Scioli for second.
Well, this is sort of cooled off for a moment. I don't think it's over by any stretch. Matthew Bell, Curran, and Oates, though, this is a battle that's still hotly contested right now for the last position inside the top 5.
Oh, it is getting close. Oates trying to offset, going to make a lunge to the inside of Michael Curran, almost a little bit too deep. Curran trying to defend on the outside, but has to yield. The 45 on through to 6th.
Behind Springer, Mitchell, Morton, 9th, 10th, and 11th on the racetrack, so move Springer up to 9, Mitchell down to 10th, and Matthew Morton trying to crack in from the top 10.
Gosh, why don't people like road racing? This is great stuff here.
Yeah, a whole several trios of drivers fighting it out here towards the end. Morton trying to make a move on Greg Mitchell. Mitchell trying to defend for a top 10 and a solid finish, but Morton's going to have a look at the inside in turn 11.
Late on the brakes.
He is going to send it in a bit deep, but Mitchell not going to have the run on the exit, so move Matthew Morton inside the top 10 and looking to get another solid finish for the Slinger Esports driver.
Great battles here. There's 3 laps to go, and Seth Knoll leads by 7/10 of a second. Padded that lead last time around by 2/10. And I mentioned earlier that I thought the one had slightly better pace, but I think, again, Scioli was saving now, so I think traffic might come into this. Scioli and Knoll had an opportunity to lean on each other. They didn't. It's Payne and Mitchell trade spots.
Yeah, Payne also working his way up through and trying to see if he can be there, just see if he can get a top 10. And also one driver we got to highlight too is Ricky Springer, because don't forget he had an EOL. He started around, I want to say, in the mid-30s, around 35th position, and Springer's up to 9th. Great drive forward for the 51.
Yeah, he's one of the few drivers that did come in and take fuel early in the beginning, 35 laps on his run right now, and there's Ed Robertson going for a little adventure off the track.
Half a second between the 2 leaders that time. Advantage again, Seth Knoll. But Scioli has split himself away from Jake Nichols, which is great news because a little wiggle there for the 7. The last time that Scioli had a shot for the lead, he had to worry about the 73 as well. And now he can focus all forward, and he's going to need to because we have a lap and a half left to go, and Seth Knoll has padded his advantage.
Yeah, he really has kind of stretched his legs and scampered off away from James Scioli, and I think that's exactly what he needed. Just give himself a little bit of a buffer, because we saw if he gives an inch, Scioli will take a mile, and he made that dive into turn 7, and Knoll was able to defend him off, and he didn't want that to happen again. So he's got a little bit of a cushion, just a matter, can he execute for one more rotation, 1 lap to go this time by.
He's going to have to rely on a mistake from the one of Knoll. Scioli still about a second back almost. There is some lap traffic though. Not sure if they're going to be able to catch him, Kyle, but they're on the final lap at Sonoma.
White flag, 2 miles left in our first of 2 road races this year. It has been an all solar flare show. They have been the ones to cook the grass here in Sonoma. It is brown as can be, thanks to solar flare, but Seth Knoll has had a really successful season thus far. 1 last time out at Dover, 1 at Pocono, 1 at Daytona. Every other race this season he has gone to victory lane, but that wasn't even good enough. If he can hold on for another half a lap, Finian, he'll be 2 in a row in the Cup Series.
2 in a row, 4 in total. Definitely looking to be the dominant force this season. That'll be 4 wins in 6 races if he can just hold on for just half a lap more.
Got to go through the S's for the final time. Don't want to make a big mistake there. Otherwise, the 7's going to capitalize. The 73 is going to capitalize. But Kyle, things all stay the same. Solar Flare as a team will capitalize in the team standings.
Yeah, this has been a phenomenal race. They never once relinquished the lead, not even for a moment, not even with uncertain strategy and hot track temps and traffic and all the things aside. These three have driven a near perfect race for Solar Flare Racing. Seth Knoll, though, is setting up for maybe not a perfect season, but a very strong one. He's the championship leader, the top seed in the playoffs, and he'll cement that with his 4th win of the season at Sonoma. Seth Knoll wins in California.
What a job for him. James Scully, whoa, in behind. Oates into Matthew Bell, going to turn him around in the hairpin. It's going to be Michael Kern that'll snake on through from 7th to 5th.
Oh!
And they're going to spin again.
Well, the top 5 streak stays alive for Michael Curran to make that 6 for 6 top 5 finishes on road courses, but Matthew Bell, Jonathan Oates again entangled in the last turn. Bell's going to come away with 6. Jonathan Oates going to come away with 9.
Peyton Howell, Blaze McKinney side by side here at the closing moments of this one. Connor Horn and Drew Jua cut Horns wide. Jua's going to cross him over for 16th place.
Quite a few last turn passes for a couple drivers there, and that got very spicy with the 45.
Yeah, let's go back and have another look at that. Last lap into turn 11. I told you they designed this corner to wreck race cars. And Oates is a long ways back here, isn't he? Gets a nice run through 10, Finian, and this is just that last-ditch effort from a long ways back.
When life imitates art.
Yeah, and then, you know, the thing about Matthew Bell here is he could disguise that as accidental, but I think that was very carefully planned, how he ripped around and just tagged
Oh,
Oates.
yeah.
And it was honestly beautifully done, I have to say. I mean,
So what you're saying is what he did was unintentionally intentional.
correct.
Well, what he's saying is his arm was a little itchy right there.
I mean, P6 for the 8, P9 for Oates. It wasn't a bad day, but I think they'll disagree on how that went down.
Oh, they were very much disagreeing in the chat. A few expletives thrown each other's way, so let the admins look at that. Actually, they already have looked at that, and that's going to be +2 penalty points for the 45.
Yeah, if you look at it again, I mean, there was no way that Oates was going to make this corner. He just, I don't know if he just miscalculated or if it was just a Hail Mary, but, I mean,
That's what we call, or that's what I call, a Louisiana dive bomb.
Took a move out of Austin Dillon's playbook.
Yeah, not to mention, this was for the top 5, which you'll see the 24 scoot. Well, he already scooted on by, but that was for a top 5 position. And then none of them get a top 5.
Seth Knoll, man, what a season he is having.
Yeah, phenomenal job from the 1. He was riding in behind the 7 all race long. In fact, actually, how many laps did Seth Knoll lead? Wasn't what? I don't even think he got into double digits. 10. Just barely 10. Well, the other 35 going to James Scully.
I will take those points, by the way. Commentator picks.
It's not much. You're only going to get a little bit.
I know, but I just need to chip away at it. I'll just keep picking the 1. Seems to be working out pretty good for me. Can't fault me for that, can you? Let's have a look at our race results. With that 1 on top, he is your winner. 3 Toyotas, all Solar Flare cars in the top 3. They made it fun there at the end. I want to go back and look at one more battle they had before we jump to interviews. Scioli, Nichols, Beckner, Kurhan, Bell with that late race spin ends up P6. Hart, Springer, Oates, the instigator of the spin. Matthew Morton pulls out a top 10.
Yeah, I know for a fact. Oates, he's getting a EOL for the next race at North Wilkesboro. Then moving on to 11th, Andrew Payne, just outside the top 10 with Greg Mitchell. Peyton Howell back in 13th. McKinney, Everett Sherry Jr., Jujua, Connor Horn. We saw that last lap pass right at the end, 16th, 17th with Weissert, Groner, and Schaefer, top 20.
And then just outside the top 20, Bailey Turner had that early incident from the spin with Beckner, finishes 21st. Newbigging Silver, Jeremy Miller, Bryce Senesac, Cabot, Bondurant, Punkari Service, and Dom DeLeo round out the top 30.
And here's some drivers that did not have the best of days. Garrett Grant started with an EOL and a drive-through, so ended up 31st in this one. Tyler Nichols we saw go around pretty late. Eitzen, Berger, Cardello, Arden, just all some troublesome days. And then the drivers that didn't get a very good launch at all in this one at the tail of the field. Before we talk to our top 3, I want to go back to the battle that we saw for the lead with those Solar Flare cars. And this is kind of where it started, Finney, in turn 7, and then just an epic battle between teammates here.
Sorry about that. Yeah, really epic battle between these two. especially through the exit here, the fact that they were able to just give each other enough room, but they were racing each other hard all the way on through, giving each other respect and the space. You see Seth Knoll trying to see if he can clear the 7. Couldn't quite do it, and then caught him right there in turn 10 within pinch.
Did help that Jake Nichols applied pressure as well, had to rechange the line that the 7 wanted to run, but that was the race-winning move, and Seth Knoll was able to come away with the win, his 4th of the season.
Well, I think it's a great backdrop for our conversations with our top 3. Jake Nichols ended up 3rd tonight in the number 73, and what a night for Solar Flare Racing, in command the entire time, and even put on a show at the end. Tonight was a really interesting race. We got to see a little bit of strategy play out there, Jake, but you were kind of 3rd for most of the evening watching Seth and James go at it. Your thoughts on tonight?
Very happy. This car, you just drive hard the whole race, and I would play the, I don't know, it's hard to say what you would do there, but the whole race I kind of went hard for a lap and then cooled tires down, went hard just to see if I could ever maybe get a run on them. I felt like I was better entering corners, I was better under braking, which is usually the opposite, but I think I just rolled a little better on entry, and turn 10, I was really good, the last right-hander before the hairpin, and that was my opportunity a little bit, but I wasn't going to send it after the pit stops there when they were side-by-side for the lead. I wasn't going to risk wrecking our cars. That was one of the most dominating performances by a team in this league, and we knew it was going to be good. I didn't think we'd be that on top of each other, even after running a few laps together yesterday and being within a tenth of each other on hot laps, but I mean, that was a dream. As a team owner sitting there, I couldn't be any happier. We got a really great team with a lot of talent and great people, and a night like tonight really shows that. And I didn't see where Phillip ran here. He had to start in the back. He didn't get much practice, and he got a top 20, which is good. Tyler got, I think, 32nd, which isn't the greatest, but I mean, he was just logging laps at that point and just trying to finish, and he did that and did what he wanted, I'm sure. And we'll look forward and, keep our dominating performances, hopefully continuing on till the playoffs eventually.
Job well done. Jake Nichols, 3rd tonight in the 73. Jake, thanks.
Thank you.
And let's talk with our 2nd place finisher, James Scioli, who led the vast majority of laps tonight. And James, I know that maybe coming away without a win is a little bit of a bummer after leading 35 of 45, but the team dominance showed tonight. And the battle you guys had on lap 42 in particular, that was fun. Take us through your evening. I mean, all 3 of you guys were our picks up here in the booth, and you guys didn't disappoint.
Yeah, always fun battling with Seth and Jake. They're great drivers. We were all pretty much the same pace the whole race, so that was really cool. Seth made a mistake right before the lap that I pitted, so I thought that I'd just try and get in the pits and capitalize on that gap that I had, and then hope that I could run some good laps in clean air coming out of the pits. But unfortunately, I had some traffic that I couldn't get through as quick as Seth got through the traffic he was behind. So just kind of got out behind him. I knew I was going to have to capitalize quick because dirty air was going to do its thing. So just tried to send a couple moves and downshifted to 3rd going through turn 10 there right before the hairpin. I think that just kind of snapped the car a little bit and let Seth get clear of us. And after that, it was kind of over. So definitely sucks not getting the win there. Wanted to lock myself in the playoffs, of course, but always cool when you're the class of the field like that. So like I said, a great battle with those 3.
Any learnings tonight for Montreal? I imagine that you 3 will again be favorites there. Is there something you might do different strategy-wise heading into Circuit Gilles Villeneuve?
You just kind of got to get lucky with traffic. I think that if I had a couple clean laps coming out of the pits, I probably would have stayed ahead of him. And it seems like your laps out of the pits are just a little bit quicker. Maybe the tires cool off, or I'm not really sure. But seems like if you can get in, you can run some good laps. So I didn't want to get undercut by Seth or Jake. Just like I said, got a little unlucky with the traffic there. Definitely got to find a little bit of speed. Seth's quick, especially in the next gen. So definitely we'll have to find a bit more speed for Montreal, I think.
James Scioli, 2nd at Sonoma. James, thanks.
Thanks, guys. First off, thanks to you, the broadcast, the admin team, of course. Big shout out Solar Flare Racing 123, pretty cool. And we'll try and win it on Thursday.
All right, we'll see you there, James. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
And race winner for the 4th time this season, Seth Knoll brings it home. And as I said in the broadcast, you've been winning every other week, but you couldn't wait another week to win this time. little bit of strategy played out, and here you are in victory lane again, establishing yourself as a championship favorite. And this has got to feel good. Someone beating James Scioli at a road race is an achievement within itself.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good little brawl there for that one lap after I left the pits. Just a little overcut strat, I guess. James kind of shortcutted a little bit, and then I went for the full overcut. We were just all three just on top of each other, just running pace, getting through the lappers one by one. And we were just able to do the overcut on James and set sail.
Yeah, as far as your confidence heading into Montreal, our next road race, which is just in a couple of weeks, what does this do for you? And do you feel capable to go out there and beat James at perhaps the thing that he's best at in a few weeks' time again?
I don't think so there. This is one of my better road courses, so I had a lot of confidence coming into tonight that I was going to be close. I didn't know I was going to be that close. So we'll see when we get there. I'm going to have to run quite a few laps if I'm going to be James' pace, but yeah, I mean, big confidence boost. This is first road win. I mean, I think this is actually my first road top 3 in area, so big night.
Big night for sure. Seth Knoll, 4th win of the season. Thanks for talking, and we'll see you next time.
I appreciate you, Kyle.
See ya. All right, guys. Wow, that was fun. Road racing, who would have thunk it? I mean, went caution-free, obviously, but I think the bigger news there was, Solar Flare obviously was dominant tonight, Finney, and no doubt about that. But there was compelling action all through the field the entire night long, and I think we're due for more of that. But we've got 2 more series this week to run here, and of course, our next round is at North Wilkesboro, a completely different 180 turn from what we're doing this week.
Yeah, some really old-fashioned short track racing for these drivers. I'm sure a lot of them are going to be happy to get off the road course, although they can't be happy for too long because in 2 weeks' time we're heading to Montreal, and that's a big unknown. I don't think pretty much half the field, I would say, has probably ever turned a lap around Montreal, if not many laps around there. So it's going to be a big unknown coming up, and then of course Darlington in the middle of all that. So a lot of great tracks coming up in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, we go from a long 2-mile left and right-hander to just a 0.62-mile left-hand oval with very interesting characteristics, Kyle. It's kind of a throwback before we had the throwback week at Darlington. And then Montreal, Chicagoland, Indianapolis, and Talladega. Just like that, we're halfway through the regular season, and things are only heating up from here.
Oh, that is true. Heating up more than California? I don't believe it. We head to North Wilkesboro next week. More road racing Tuesday and Thursday. It'll be myself and Connor Horn tomorrow. And it'll be Finian, Hunter, and Connor on Thursday. We'll see you right back here from Sonoma, California. I'm off to Lime Rock Park on Wednesday, so I'll miss this one. It's every single seat. And I miss the Thursday for Montreal, too. Seems like it's planned against me. But anyway, we'll see you guys next time right here on SimTV. For Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, and Finney DeCuna. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.